Verbal riot.
Guys, welcome back, man. I sorry I couldn't make it last week. I know I try to keep this stuff on the regular now. Still trying to watch my mouth. I know I try to keep this on the regular now, but kind of had a tragedy in the family last week, and unfortunately, just a lot of different distractions with that, and wasn't able to do the live show. But I'm happy to be back this week, and guess what? Surprise! I have actually two live shows happening this week to make up for the last week. So I'm doing my show today, which is pretty much just news and reviews. But Thursday, I'm actually being joined by the gorgeous Sari Cohen, who is going to talk about the film industry with me. So that's going to be fun, a good time, and I'm going to try my best not to get her into too much trouble. So anyway, it's been a crazy week, and I'm just happy to be back doing what I love. And speaking of which, man, there's been some wild news last week and I guess over the weekend. So I'm gonna hop into that. But let's get it started. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the beginning of the year, I think it was around end of January, maybe, Cat Williams. Cat Williams basically just blew up 2024, right? Like just called everybody out. Like I mean, he left no stone unturned, okay? And he went after any big name you could think of in the industry, he went after, right? As far as, black celebrities go. And it's wild to see this man's words like coming to fruition right now with all the things that are going on with all these different people, specifically one, and you guys know who I'm about to talk about. But he called all of this, and I got to give him props, man. It's almost like he's a prophet or something, right? Because he said it himself. This is the year. This is the year that everything will get exposed. And I actually want to get into like that video of Cat Williams right now so that you guys can if you didn't see the video, if you're one of the few who didn't see it, you're going to see it now. So let's see.
The truth is the light. Big Deviance is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TGJ, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So he literally called Diddy out by name, right? And he said all lies will be exposed. And this man, there was never more of a truth told than that right there, right? Because man, Diddy is having some problems, y'all. I look here. The weird thing about this for me, okay, if I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm about to get a little maybe too real right now because I feel like this kind of shit has gone on for too long, right? And what I mean by shit, I'm talking about where we know the dirt certain celebrities have gotten into, and we have remained quiet about it. We have said nothing about it, and I'm going to talk specifically to black folks at this point, right? Because I get it, I get it. Like we wanna protect our heroes, right? We want to celebrate, quote unquote black excellence, right? Like we want to put black folks who have made it to the top. We want to give them the flowers, right? That they deserve, right? So I get that. But there comes a point where we gotta stop ignoring the obvious that's in our face, right? Because to be honest with you, this whole time, people like Diddy, people like R. Kelly, they've been playing in our face this whole time. Y'all know they have been. And, you know, what do we do instead of calling them out? We defend these people, right? We defend them. I look, the thing about R. Kelly, right, is we heard about his BS back in the early 90s, We knew what kind of dirt he was involved in. And as long as he kept putting out them bangers, right? Putting out those hits, we didn't care. We didn't care. Now, obviously, we couldn't completely prove it either because we didn't have the video or, physical evidence to prove anything. But we all knew that he was into some dirt, right? My thing with Diddy is I have never liked Diddy, ever. And when I heard all the stuff that he was involved in back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like none of this stuff now surprises me at all. Okay. I quit messing with Diddy back when he screwed over Craig Mack back in the day. So I've never liked Diddy. I've liked his artist, right? Like I love Biggie, love Craig Mack, love Total, love 112, love Mary J, love Faith Evans, love all Black Rob, love all his people. Can't stand him. Never could stand him. But, you know, at the time I just took it as, well, I don't like the guy, but I can't necessarily say that he's done anything wrong. Right? I heard rumors. We all hear rumors, but I couldn't prove anything. But there comes a point, and this applies to even like back with Bill Cosby, right? There comes a point where if you hear enough people who are telling you that this person did this to them, when enough people are basically accusing somebody of something, where there's smoke, there's fire. You get what I'm saying? Like we something is up. And there's been more than enough smoke coming from Diddy's camp for decades now. Like, I mean, crazy stuff. Like this stuff that happened recently, that the video that came out that I'm going to show, the video that came out, that was, you know, mild compared to most of the things that I've heard about Diddy, right? And we've all heard about him, right? We've heard about him like sexually assaulting male rap artists, right? Like that's out there. That's out there. So none of this is shocking to me, right? And when Katt exposed all this stuff at the beginning of the year, all the people he was calling out, not one of them was a surprise to me. None of them. Because we've all heard the rumors. We all heard what people have said over the years. And we pretended that it didn't happen, right? Right? Especially when it comes to hip hop artists or R&B artists, right? Because as long as they keep putting out those bangers, we don't care. Or we'll look the other way. As long as those bangers keep coming, right? But look what happened to R. Kelly when he stopped putting out bangers. That's when they finally went after him. That's when the black community finally turned on him, right? Look at Diddy. What's the last banger he put out? Now, no one cares. Lock him away, right? See, it's sad that it has to come to that point before we decide that these trifling ass dudes are guilty. You know what I mean? They are guilty. Now with Diddy, we just actually have proof of that, right? Like we look, we all saw that video. And if you haven't, well, you're about to see it now because I'm gonna show. Just for those who haven't seen it, I'm gonna show you again. And look, I don't do trigger warnings. I'm sorry if you've been abused and the video is too much for you. I just advise you look away. That's all. It is what it is. And it is hard to watch. I'll give you that. It's hard to watch. I to be honest with you, there's no topic I hate more than domestic abuse, right? Just on a personal level, I hate it. I hate talking about it. I hate covering it. I hate everything about it. But it is what it is. So anyway, here's the video. There we go. Right? Yeah.
obtained exclusively by CNN appears to corroborate some of the allegations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video. There is no audio. According to the complaint, Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye, which, according to the lawsuit, prompted Ventura to try and leave the hotel room. The surveillance video obtained by CNN begins as she enters the hallway. The complaint says as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. The complaint goes on to say he grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her. In the surveillance video, Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground. As Ventura lies on the ground, Combs then kicks her twice and attempts to drag her on the floor back to the hotel room.
Puffy's a wild boy. And that is a hard video to watch, man. I can't believe this dude actually chased her down in a towel. Right? Like that's just how far out this dude is right now. And you know, I feel bad for Cassie. Like I really do. And Cassie, for those who don't know, she is a R&B artist. She was on his label. So the power dynamic there, you know, he totally took advantage of that, obviously. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't jump at the chance to, you know, be with, you know, a guy who's almost a billionaire and can make her career. Because let's be adults here, okay? Deals are made all the time. Marriages are deals, basically, right? And that's the deal she made. Now, I don't think she counted on it being that violent, but I think she kind of knew going in, right? That she knew who she was dealing with, you know, and I think some accountability has to be taken there as well, right? It wasn't like he was just some guy who was just this nice guy who, you know, worked at a restaurant or something. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't just some regular guy. She knew exactly who he was. All the stuff that happened with Biggie and Pac back in the day, Diddy was right there, right? Cassie's pretty young. So she knew who Diddy was going into this situation. Right? Now, did she deserve any of that we just saw? Hell no. Hell no. This dude should be under the jail. He should be honestly, he should be like in a Mexican prison, to be honest with you, man. Or an Iraqi prison. He should like bread and water, right? Like breaking rocks all day. Like this guy deserves the worst. But she knew going into this what this dude was like. And I hate to say it, man, but this happens to a lot of women who, you know, you know, it's the savior syndrome, right? It's the I could change him, I could fix him thing, right? It's this weird idea that I think some women have that, you know, I'm going to find a thug with a heart of gold, right? Right? He's going to be thug in every other way except with me. On a personal note, growing up where I grew up in the hood, you know how tired I was of seeing that and hearing about that, right? Like the hottest girls in the hood would always go after the most thuggish of guys, right? Knowing what they were like, right? Knowing exactly what they were, knowing exactly what they would do to them if they got angry. Didn't matter. That's what they wanted. The thug with the heart of gold, right? The unicorn. The unicorn. And I'm not laughing at her. I'm just laughing at how stupid that mentality is. I'm laughing at how ridiculous that way of thinking is. That you're going to change a thug, right? And don't have any misconceptions here. Diddy is a thug, right? Straight up. If you don't think he had any kind of involvement in Pac's death, you are out of your fucking mind. Guarantee you he did. I think he had a play in Biggie's death. And what's crazy to me is not only did he do this to her, knowing that there's hotel cameras, he knew that there's cameras there. He didn't even care. So what in the hell did he do to her in private when no one was looking? Right? When no one was around. What did she go through, man? Because that's him knowing cameras are on him. And it makes me wonder about his other relationships. He had the mother of his children passed away, I think a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even longer. I'm not sure, but she passed away. It makes me wonder what she went through with him. Right? I mean, I think the only woman he probably has never put his hands on, the only woman that he's been with that he's never touched, was probably Jennifer Lopez, because he knew better. He knew better. There was no way Jennifer Lopez could show up anywhere with a black guy while he was dating her without him being thrown under the prison. You know what I mean? And that's what abusers do, right? They pick on the weak. Because a strong woman would be, there's no way that would happen. Now, all this is out in the open. Everyone knows about it, right? So Diddy decided to hop online and apologize, not even to Cassie, who was being abused in this video, but just I don't even know what he's apologizing for if he's not apologizing to her. But I'm gonna show you the video.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your it's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm sorry. No, not at all. You think for a second he would have apologized before that video came out? For a second, you think he would apologize? He'd even be talking about it. In fact, he was denying everything, him and his lawyer, up until the point where this video came out. He said it wasn't even true, but he got caught in the lie, and now he's apologizing. This is, and the craziest thing about this to me is not that it happened, but that he won't face 1 day of jail time for what he did. You want to know why? Statute of limitations. They run out. Now, I find it a coincidence that the video gets leaked as soon as the limitations run out, right? That's when it got leaked. See, what happened was him and his people paid whoever was at that hotel to hide this video. Of course, that's what happened. Otherwise, this video with Diddy, you don't think someone would have leaked this years ago? Years ago. right? Him and Cassie, this happened a long time ago, y'all. Like, this wasn't even like recent. Like, these were some years. So you're telling me no one leaked it in all those years? Nah. Come on. Come on, man. Like, let's stop here. Let's call a spade, shall we? This is wild stuff. And like I said, I don't like talking about this stuff, but it's just news right now. It's everywhere you look, this conversation is happening. The only shining light in all of this, the only bright spot in all of this is that Cassie, from what I heard, is very happy now. She's remarried to a very good guy. She has children with this good guy. She got her happy ending, right? And I feel good about that. It sucks that she has to relive all this shit because every news channel, every YouTube station channel is playing this video, and she has to keep reliving it, and it sucks. But at least she got out, right? Because a lot of women don't get out. She got out. Now, what happens to Diddy? Oh, he's done career-wise. For some reason, he's still walking around free. For some weird reason, he still has his freedom. But his career, his reputation, all of that is done. It's good he made all the money he did because he's going to be living off that money for a while. And who's to say that the IRS isn't going to come for that money? And I'm telling you guys, like this situation with Cassie, it was one of hundreds of accusations against this man. Right? This isn't the only situation here. Like I said, there are literally charges of sexual assault against male hip hop artists and R&B artists. I'm not going to mention them by name. Well, no, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to mention one of them. Usher. There's an accusation that he sexually assaulted Usher. Now, will Usher ever come out and say that? No. Because as a man, there is no, especially in the hip hop world, there's no coming out and saying some other male, raped you or sexually assaulted you. Nah, you don't do that in hip hop. No artist, no male artist will come forward and say he did that. Because then they have to admit that he did that. It's crazy, man. It's a this whole situation is wild. But I'm glad it's happening because, like I said, I never ever cared for Diddy, never liked him, liked his artist. I think he's a piece of shit. I think he ripped off a bunch of his artists. In fact, I know he did. And the fact that the chickens that come home to roost, good. Fuck him. Anyway, that's enough about Diddy. So I'm gonna switch it over to another topic, which might get me in even more trouble if I'm being honest with you. But you know what? I'm going to transition into this, and I want you guys just to go with me on this for a minute, okay? So this topic, and I'm trying to, and this one I'm trying to use my words wisely. Like that other segment with Diddy, I didn't care. This one I'm going to try to be sensitive, okay? I remember as a teenage boy, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue was something that, I'm not going to lie, I look forward to seeing, right? Because it was always the most gorgeous women on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, right? Like, just the hottest models, right? Claudia Schiffer, Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, Tyra Banks, just, the hottest of the hot were always like on the cover. And hey, and as a teenage boy, that's what we had, you know? Like you youngins, with your internet porn and all that, like we didn't have all that back in the 80s and 90s, man. We had magazines. That's all we had. Okay. We had magazine and late night cable. Y'all youngins, man, you take it for granted because you could just hop on your phone and there's just boobs, right? But nah, back in my time, we had to work for ours, right? Like we couldn't just see boobs. We had to work for it. And it brings me to what I'm about to talk about. So we all know things have gotten a lot more PC, right? I guess woke is the current word we're using here. uh, Things are different now, right? Because I remember there was a time, when Victoria's Secret was like, it was like Playboy back in the day. And as far as, only the most gorgeous of people, right? And the thing about Playboy and about Victoria's Secret, something that no one really talks about, but should, is women liked looking at those magazines and those pictures of gorgeous women. Women like looking at that just as much as the men did. I knew women who looked at Playboy, who bought Playboy. I know women who, went to Victoria's Secret and they loved the models, that were modeling the lingerie. Well, at the time it was lingerie, now it's just basic underwear, seems like. But they, women were into that too. They were into beauty, right? So it wasn't just a guy thing. We've gone far away from that now, right? Like and the reason why I'm bringing this up is, so I'm gonna show you guys something. So we all remember this, right? We remember Tyra Banks. We remember like just models like this who would model Sports Illustrated's swimsuit issue, right? Gorgeous, hot, And what's funny is Tyra was even considered thick by these standards, right? And if you're looking at her, she's blazing hot in this. But she was considered a thicker girl. That was considered thicker. So let's flash forward to 2024 and see what's on the cover of Sports Illustrated now. Damn, even the screen widened. Okay, I need to chill. But no, guys, look. This woman she has a very pretty face. Okay? She is. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm attracted to all women, whether they're thinner, a little thicker, a little thicker, a little thinner, but within a realm, right? Like I'm attracted to a lot of different types of women. Okay, I'm not saying this woman isn't, facially attractive, right? And even her body, what I'm trying to see, I'm trying to word this. See, what I'm trying to say is, on the cover of Sports Illustrated's swimsuit issue, the cover, right? It's weird to me that now in this time, and I'm not going to say this woman's unhealthy, right? But I am going to say that we are seeing a lot of obesity being pushed as quote unquote healthy, which is complete garbage, right? And I have this weird sneaking suspicion that it has something to do with the pharmaceutical companies that are pushing this, right? Because think about it. The more overweight we are, the more unhealthy we are, the more we need their pills, right? So I think there's something way more dastardly involved in pushing this agenda here, because I look, I'm not saying you can't be happy with who you are, right? You know, if you're a little thicker and you're happy, fine, that's cool. Be happy. Look, even myself, okay? I I'm not going to be on the cover of any men's magazines anytime soon, right? I mean, those days are way behind me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think I'm a decent looking guy. You know, especially for my age. Shit, man, I'm 50 years old. It's like, you know, I work out. I think I look pretty good for my age. Am I going to grace the cover of any men's magazines anytime soon? No, no. And I'm realistic about that. And I'm okay about that. um, I I look, I think that what they're trying to do, this body image thing, I think for self-esteem reasons, it's fine, right? Like you don't want people to feel like shit because of the way they look, but there needs to be an inspiration to get in shape, right? There needs to be like, okay, you know what? I am a fat ass right now. I need to get my ass in the gym, right? Or do something to get in shape because number one, it's healthy. First and foremost, it's healthy. But secondly, you know, I want to look good. I want to look, you know, presentable, right? But most importantly, health. I want to be healthy. This is pushing for me, is pushing unhealthiness, right? Obesity is unhealthy. I don't care what anyone tries to say. And what's funny is we're seeing all of these, you know, for lack of a better word, fat influencers dying off left and right, man, because they're out of shape, because they're obese. Someone, not someone, the media and the government are lying to these women and men and saying that it's okay to be, you know, 300 pounds when you're 5'6". Okay? Like, oh, really? And what time in history ever has being obese been healthy? Ever. It's never been okay. It's never been healthy. But all of a sudden it's healthy now. There is some slimy shit going on for whoever's pushing this agenda. And I don't know this woman. You know, again, she has an attractive face. I'm not saying she's ugly at all. I'm not saying she's not, you know, desirable for somebody. What I'm saying is, you know, when you see this on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, come on, come on, come on, y'all. Like, what are we doing here? Again, I'm no prize either, but I at least know that. I at least know that, okay? Anyway, let me get to some of these comments, man, because I know I should have did that right after R. Kelly, but again, y'all, I'm still new to the live stream thing, so I'm figuring it out as I go, and I'm just glad you guys are along for the ride. But let me check out some of these comments. All right, what do we got here? This is from Anonymous Mouse. Still hot, really. Okay, yeah. I mean, look. I'm not saying she's unattractive, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm saying cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition hot. Really? Anyway, let's look at another. Anonymous again. When I think of the SI swimsuit, I think of very fit women. Yes, right. I think of athletes, right? I think of women who have trained or who work out. Like it's Sports Illustrated, right? This isn't Biggins. Okay, this isn't Biggins magazine. This is Sports Illustrated, guys. So anyway, let me stop before I say something stupid. Cyfax. You going to Furiosa on Thursday? Actually, no, because I have another live show on Thursday. I'm gonna talk about that more later. But I saw Furiosa. I'm reviewing it today on this show, actually. So, like I said, today's show is a lot of news and reviews. And actually today I'm going to be reviewing Furiosa, X-Men 97, and Fallout. So those are the reviews I'm doing today. But anyway, I'll get back into that later. All right, let's look at another comment. She lasts a long way into a famine. And this is by Torvidicus. Look, man, that's kind of messed up, right? I'm not trying to get fat jokes out of this, guys. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm trying to say we need to get back to healthy, like promoting healthy lifestyles and promoting healthy body types. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm not trying to clown this woman. All right. Soul Bearer. People want to see the sexiest people in magazines and movies. We see these type of women every day in real life. Yes, but here's the thing with that. Sure, that we do. We want to see this, right? But women also want to see this, man. Like that's like the dirty little secret no one wants to talk about. Is that women like looking at attractive women too. Like they do. And women like looking at attractive looking men, right? So to say that it's all about the male gaze is some bullshit. It's bullshit. It's not just men who are into fitness. It's women too. All right, I'm gonna do one more before I move on to the next topic. Let's see. Before a long winter, maybe. This is by Torvidicus. Yeah, you guys are savage, man. I'm gonna do one more. A cut body used to be aspirational and motivational, even if it was a little Photoshop, even if a little Photoshop was involved. And this was from Ramina Jones. You know what? I'm glad Ramina brought this up because actually that's a really good point. Yes, it was something to aspire to, right? I remember, man, back in the 80s, guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, guys like Jean-Claude Van Damme, guys like Sylvester Stallone, all these guys, man, I used to train my body. Like I used to be in a lot better shape than I am right now. I'm not in terrible shape, but back in the day, I used to kill myself in the gym and working out because, I had all these icons to look up to, right? Like Schwarzenegger. I mean, who didn't want to be that guy? Who didn't want to look like Schwarzenegger, man? I, you know, I remember having posters on my walls, right, of all these guys because I was like, I want to be like motivating, right? Like the Rocky 4 soundtrack was like my workout album, right? Like I put that on and I was just going to a zone and I'm sitting there punching trees. I'm like sawing wood and crazy shit like that. I wanted to look like those guys look, man, right? And even if my motivations were superficial, I was healthy. It kept me healthy. Maybe it was the wrong motivation to do it, but you know, in the end, it really didn't matter why I was doing it as long as I was doing it and being active, right? And keeping my heart rate up, instead of sitting on my ass, right? Just, bloating out. So anyway, let me move on to the next topic. All right, so I'm not going to get too deep into this next topic just because I don't know enough about it, and to be honest with you, I don't know enough about I don't care enough, I should say, about the franchise to really be that passionate about it. But I do find the topic of it very interesting, and that is Assassin's Creed Shadows, the newest iteration of Assassin's Creed, right? It's been the talk on X for like the past week, right? Because, and I guess the controversy is, all the Assassin's Creed games have been very geographical, right? And very kind of true to their geography. What I mean by this is, well, look, I'll just skip into what this new game is. Assassin's Creed Shadows basically takes place in ancient Japan, right? The lead character in this game about ancient Japan, the lead character is a black samurai. Now, why they decide to go with this story, I have no idea, right? I have no idea because we're talking ancient Japan here. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't any black folks in ancient Japan, but I'm pretty sure that to make a whole game based on that when you could have just went with a Japanese lead makes zero sense to a lot of people. And even I was kind of like, well, maybe they just have a specific story they want to tell, right? And before I go further with that, I know that there was a specific story involving a black sword holder or shield bearer, right? It's foggy whether he was really a samurai or not, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I'm looking for it right now. Maybe you guys in the chat could probably help me out with that. What is the lead character for Assassin's Creed Shadows? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, it's based on a real guy, supposedly. The thing about it, though, is it makes me wonder, like, okay, if you were telling the story specifically about this specific character and this guy in history, you could have easily have just told an Assassin's Creed story that took place in ancient Egypt or Africa, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to do a game focused on ancient Japan, why not just focus on the actual samurai that were there? Like the Japanese samurai that are there. And was the weird thing about it is the response that we've gotten from the developers about this, right? Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft has recently gotten very vocal about how woke they are. Okay, for lack of a better word. I really hate that word, but for lack of a better word, they've been very vocal about it. Right? They've even hired, some Sweet Baby Inc. type company, or developers to create the game. Right? In fact, let me show you a picture of the people responsible for this game. So look at this crowd, right? What does it look like to you? First of all, it's like 80% all white women. Okay? 80% white women telling a story about ancient Japan involving a black lead. Right? 80% white women. Now, if you really look and squint your eyes in the far left corner, you'll see one brown face. And I can't even tell if she's black. Can't even tell. This is why gamers no longer trust these companies. Guys, if you follow me on Twitter or X, you know I've been saying for a while now. Buy independent games. Buy indie games. Stop supporting these big AAA titles, man. Stop supporting them. Screw them. They obviously don't care about what gamers want, right? They care about what they want. And they care about whatever agenda they want to push. Right? I have no skin in the game. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I never cared for the Assassin's Creed series. I just didn't. I played the first. No, I'm sorry. I played Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio. And I remember that. I played Assassin's Creed 2, and I played it for a while. And after that, I lost interest in the whole series. I didn't care anymore. Never played an Assassin's Creed game after that. Because I don't care. So I have no skin in the game here. I'm not a hardcore fan. So I'm not even angry about this. But it solidifies what I'm saying about if you are angry about it, it's time to stop supporting this shit. It just stop. Like buy independent. There's so many fun indie games right now, man. So many fun. Right now I'm playing this game called Cult of the Lamb, and it's basically a game on how to start your own cult. And it's hilarious and it's fun. And it's an independent game. I'm supporting independent developers. And I'm going to keep preaching that, man. Stop buying these AAA games. They don't care. companies like Blizzard, companies like Ubisoft, Square Enix, none of these companies care. And they're all at the mercy of these groups. They're at the mercy, man. Believe me, every game coming out for the next year is going to be like this. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. There's not one game looking forward down the line right now that I'm looking forward to. The only thing I'm looking forward to game-wise right now is the expansion pack for Mortal Kombat 1. Other than that, nothing. So, anyway, didn't want to dwell too much into that. But you guys see what I'm saying, though, man. Like, it's sad that it's kind of come to this, right? Like, even gaming isn't sacred anymore. Even gaming has been taken away from us, man. I digress. Let me check some of these comments. All right, what we got here? Anonymous says Ghost of Tsushima does it a lot better than Ubisoft likely ever will. I completely agree with that. Ghost of Tsushima was an amazing game. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that Ubisoft would even do a game in ancient Japan when there's too many other games that do it way better. But whatever. Let's see. Emily Kruger says, "Happy Monday." Happy Monday to you, Emily. Thank you so much. I know you've been a big supporter of my channel, so I really appreciate that. All right, let's see. Another comment. I think people are better off. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people are feeling that. Well says Soul Bear. All right. Cool. All right, guys. So let me check one more and then I'll get into the my next topic. From those harpies from Goodney. Man, you guys have some wild names, man. You're making me work for it. And one more comment. I'm late here now, but what's everyone? What's up, everyone? Hope all is well. All is well. Thank you very much, Nighthawk. All right. Anyway, guys, that was it for news. I'm about to get into my reviews now. But yeah, that's just kind of like what's been circulating circulating social media for the past couple of days. All right, so let me just transition into the next topic.
He copied my whole fucking flow, word for word, bar for bar.
All right. So the next thing I'm going to talk about or review is there we go. Is Furiosa, which I know doesn't come out for another couple of days, but I was lucky enough to see a screening of it last week. And this is the latest iteration into the Mad Max saga, right, by George Miller. And I'll be honest, man, I thought it was damn good. It stars Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa, and this is a prequel to the previous Fury Road movie. It stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, who honestly plays. Chris Hemsworth is amazing in this movie, guys. He is completely off the chain. He's over the top, but like in the best way possible. And this was good, man. I really, you guys might have saw the review I did with Alan and Chris over on Film Threat. But I want to dive just a little bit deeper into like my feelings about the movie, because when I did that review with Alan and Chris, I was exhausted that night, and I don't think I said everything I wanted to say. But yeah, Furiosa is it's to me, it's definitely not as good as Fury Road, but it's enjoyable, man. It's very enjoyable. What I like about this film is it does a lot more world building than the other Mad Max movies have done, if I'm being honest. And not that I don't love the other Mad Max movies, man. Road Warrior is probably my favorite still. And I say follow that with Mad Max. And then I would go Fury Road, then Thunderdome, because to be honest with you, I wasn't a huge Thunderdome fan. In fact, I might be honest and put Furiosa before Thunderdome. And I know I'm gonna get shit for saying that, right? Because Thunderdome is part of the originals, right, with Mel Gibson. But I wasn't in love with Thunderdome. So, but what I liked a lot about Furiosa was that this wasn't a girl boss movie at all. In fact, she gets her ass kicked a lot in this film. Okay. And the cool thing about this character is, when we see because they start off with her as a little girl, right? So it's her as a little girl, and then we see what happened to her, right? Like how she got kidnapped and had to grow up in this crazy, world of the wasteland, right? So the little girl who played younger Furiosa, the weird thing for me was that she was more captivating and kind of, took the shine away from Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, not Anya Taylor-Joy was great, but the little girl who played her killed it. Like, killed it, man. And the dynamic between the little Furiosa and Chris Helmsworth's character, who is the one who kidnapped her, it's pretty interesting, man. Like I really, there's things about this movie I dug so much, right? Like we get more of the Wild Boys, right? Like we get more of the Wild Boys, and not really their origin, but just their uh you know more about them, right? And their relationship to with Morton Joe, and the warring factions, right? Because you had Chris Helmsworth, and I can't remember his name to save my life in the film, but you had Chris Helmsworth's faction versus Immortan Joe, right? And then you see how the economy works within that world. Look, all I'm gonna say is it's worth going to the theater to watch this movie, because at the end of the day, remember, this is George Miller, right? This is George Miller, and you're gonna have fun. The stunts are insane. Like the stunts are wild, man. It's worth the watch. It's definitely worth the watch. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, because I know the movie doesn't come out till Friday, and you guys haven't seen it, so I'm not going to give away spoilers. In fact, guys, just to know something about me, when I review something, the only time I'll ever give away spoilers is if I hate that thing. Like if I hate that movie, if I hate that TV show, then I'm just going to give spoilers, because at that point I don't care. But if it's something I really liked, I'm going to be a little vague because I don't want to ruin your experience when you watch it, right? The cool thing about this too is, we get to see how all of this ties into Fury Road, and there is a really direct path to Fury Road from this movie, which is really cool. So definitely, grab a date, grab some friends, whatever. Go watch this movie, buy some popcorn. It's a good time at the theater. Definitely see it on the big screen, right? Please see it on the big screen, because it's worth it for that, right? Like I'm not going this week to watch it, but I do plan on watching it on IMAX probably next week, because I want to see it on an even bigger screen. But definitely like Furiosa a lot, and highly recommend it. So anyway, moving on. Now I'm gonna get into Fallout. There we go. Yeah, man. So I don't know how many of you guys watched Fallout, but this was a really cool show, man. I played Fallout 3 and some of Fallout 4. Never played New Vegas, and I never finished the games. Never got too far into 4, 3 I did, but not 4. And I got to tell you, this was a Fallout game. I mean, Fallout show. I mean, it adheres to the rules of the game, right? And look, anytime you have Walter Goggins in anything, I'm going to watch it. Like, I'm going to watch it. Walter Goggins is probably one of my favorite actors in Hollywood right now, and he plays an amazing role as the Ghoul. And yeah, so anyway, let me get into the story. Fallout, basically, if you never played the game, which I really doubt anyone has never played Fallout, right? Or any kind of Fallout game. Like, come on. But basically, nuclear war happens, and there are people who are quote unquote lucky enough to have these vaults that were underground to save them from the blast. And if you were up top when the bombs went off, you were just out of luck, right? So the story basically takes place 219 years after the nuclear fallout, basically. So the people in the vaults, they're generations in by now, right? You have Walter Goggins' character, who was kind of a big actor back in his day, back when he was uh you know back when the world was intact. He was a big actor, and he actually was made the pitch man for this company that made these vaults, basically. Now, there's more story in that, and I don't want to get into what that story is with the vaults, because it kind of gives some things away. But there is a direct tie between the vaults and the war. Okay. But anyway, Walter Goggins, he was a big name actor, and we get a little bit of his backstory in the show, because what happens is, when we flash forward to 219 years later, he doesn't even look the same, right? Like, he looks like a zombie, right? They call him the Ghoul. Okay. They call him the Ghoul, and I guess what ghouls are, and not guess, I mean, I know what they are because of the game, but basically they are radiated, and he's been able to have this prolonged life. That's why, when I said before the war, again, we're talking 219 years, right? Uh, they're able to preserve their bodies and live for a very long time. So that's why he's alive 219 years later, right? But now he's something very different. Where he was an actor before in the previous life, now he's literally a bounty hunter, like a real one, right? He played a cowboy, in his acting, in his movie career, but now he's actually a bounty hunter. Talks like a cowboy. He is a cow. He's a cowboy zombie, kind of. Not a zombie, but ghoul, a radiated thing. But anyway, so we follow him. We also follow Lucy, who is I guess they call them vault dwellers, right? She's from the vault, and the reason why she even resurfaces to the main world is because her father gets kidnapped, right? So there's a lot of entanglement between her, the Ghoul. There's another character called Maximus, who's part of this religious group called the Brotherhood of Steel, who I guess they kind of I don't know if they cherish or worship technology, but OTech anyway. But they kind of consider themselves like guardians of the wasteland. So there's a cool dynamic between these three characters, because we're basically we're getting their stories individually, but there comes a point where their stories kind of come together. So it's a great show. It's a good show. I honestly, it might be my favorite show of the year so far, as far as live action goes. It's fun. There's a mystery. Again, I'm trying to watch what I say, because I don't want to give away secrets of the show, because there is a huge mystery surrounding her specific vault. Because what you guys need to know is that there's a lot of different vaults underground, right? And they're all numbered. She's part of Vault 33, right? Which is kind of like, her vault is like the more ideal vault. Okay, like some of the other vaults are fucked up. So hers is like really good, and so she's really naive about not just the outside world, but even the vault world. She's very naive, right? And the cool thing about her character also is she is also not a girl boss, right? Like yeah, she can handle herself, but you know she definitely gets her ass kicked, you know, and she learns lessons, right? So it's she's a very interesting, cool character, and I dig the actress who plays her. I think her name is it Eliza? Like Eliza Powell or something like that. No, it's Aaliyah Purnell. Yeah, Aaliyah Purnell. I don't remember anything she's been in before. I know she did the voice of Jinx in the Arcane Netflix show, but other than that, I don't think I've seen her in anything else other than that. So, but she does an amazing job. They all do a good job, to be honest with you. And the way the show ends, especially if you're a fan of Fallout, it ends in a way of if you played the games, right? Especially if you play Fallout 3, then the show ends where you know what's coming next if you played Fallout 3. So basically, whatever the next game is after Fallout 3, that's coming, right? So New Vegas is coming. And that's the only thing that I'm going to spoil for you guys is that, yeah, New Vegas is definitely coming. It's a great show. It's a great show, and I can't wait for the next season. I was shocked. I thought the show was going to be terrible, especially after the Halo debacle. Like Halo was so bad, and I thought this show was not going to be good because Amazon does not have a good track record when it comes to this stuff at all. So I was definitely pleasantly surprised. And like I said, with Walter Goggins, man, like that guy can do no wrong for me. I Whenever I hear he's attached to anything, I'm going to watch it, right? Because he's that good. He's literally that good. So if you guys have not seen Fallout, definitely check it out. Let's see. I am going to move on to the next and last thing I'm reviewing today. And I was saving this one because this is the one I'm probably most excited about. But before I do that, let's look at some comments. James Carroll, I'm sorry, man. I can't even read that. Like that's not even legible. Let me try another one. Yeah, I'm sorry that I can't read that one either. All right, let's try this again. Diverse casting. Yeah, it had a diverse cast. But that's not what makes the show good. The show is just good. All right, let's try this one. War Boys. I'm sorry, I was saying Wild Boys. You're right. Winter Soldier corrected me when he said War Boys. I was saying Wild Boys. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. The War Boys for Furiosa. Okay, War Boys. Thanks for the correction, man. All right, let me check another one. I think I read that one already. All right, so now I'm going to jump into the last thing that I'm going to be reviewing today, and that is X-Men 97. Man, I was so pleasantly surprised by this show. And I got to tell you guys, man, for me, the X-Men, like that's like that's like like treasured memories for me, right? That's like holy ground for me. I love the X-Men. I look, people I say this all the time. The very first comic I ever bought back in 1983 was a Thor comic, and I remember right after that, I was like maybe I don't know, like a few months after that, I was watching a cartoon back in the 80s called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And in this episode, Iceman takes Spider-Man to go meet the Professor and the X-Men. And after I saw that episode of the cartoon, man, I literally was like, I need to know who all these people are. I need to know, right? So I searched the earth, okay? Because guys, you got to remember, back in those days, we didn't have comic book stores, man. Like we, if you were lucky, they were at, they had a rack at 7-Eleven. They had a rack at, Zodi's. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. Zodi's was a store on the West Coast. It was kind of like the Kmart of its day back in the day. But stores like that, even Kmart, right? Like you had to go to these stores to find single issue comics, right? Because there were no comic book stores back in the 80s, at least to my knowledge. And so I remember going from store to store looking for X-Men comics. And I remember the first storyline I ever bought was, I think it was Inferno. I think that was actually the first X-Men comic I bought. I could be wrong. But when I say like the X-Men are like close to me, too close to my heart, like I'm not even fucking around. Like they just are. And I remember when the 90s cartoon came out, man, I was just, every Saturday morning, I was just there, man. No matter, how sleepy I was up and I was watching the X-Men cartoon back in the 90s or early 90s. And so, look, we all know what's happened to Disney over the past couple of years, man. They've produced nothing but shit, right? Like I don't even give them Guardians 3. I'm not even going to give them that because that's James Gunn's movie, right? And they weren't going to fuck with James Gunn. So that was a James Gunn movie. That wasn't a Disney movie, right? So the Disney's been batting pretty low since Endgame for me. And so when I heard they were redoing this show, man, I was not excited. I was like, you know what? Damn it, they're going to ruin the X-Men for me, right? And then what's even worse is right before launch, right? Right before the premiere of the show, right? All of a sudden you started hearing all these, people who worked on the show talking about how, they want to make sure, it was very inclusive and, how Morph was non-binary and they basically like that, like that's important to the character. Who cares? Right? Like who cares? But they were already like putting people off by all this stuff. So I'm just thinking, okay, here we go. Another Disney failure, right? I am so glad I was wrong. I am so glad I was wrong because this show blew my mind, right? Like I can't even believe that they did half of the shit they did in this show, right? Like they literally took where the story ended back in the 90s and just continued it from that point. But the way they continued it was like it was adult, right? It was like this is for adults. This isn't for kids. Just from the dialogue, from the fact that people were getting killed, right? Like they were murking people in the show. And just like as a fan of the books, to see all the storylines that they covered, man. Like they covered E is for Extinction. They covered uh Inferno, right? They covered Fatal Attractions. They covered all these big storylines from the comics to the point where I was even like, you guys are kind of shooting your load all in this one season, man. Like, save something for season 2 because you guys are kind of whipping through these storylines and you're not going to have anything else. But no, they, the way they ended the season, it makes me believe that they they definitely have a plan for the next season, right? And the thing that bugs me is why couldn't all of this just been like all of the things they've done up to this point been this good, right? Like they put out so much shit before they got to this one good thing. By the time they did, like all goodwill for Disney was blown. Right now, you have your shields who think everything Disney does is gold, right? I'm not talking about shields. I'm talking about fans, actual fans, right? Who they did their best to push away over the past couple of years. I'm not even going to get into Lucasfilm and Star Wars. That's its own tragedy. But no, the MCU has been hurting for a while, and I got to give the devil his due. They did good with this show. Like if they do nothing else, I'm fine with just leaving with this, right? Like if there was if there wasn't going to be another season, I would be fine with this one season we got, because it kind of gave me everything I wanted, and it reminded me of how much I love these characters, man. Like there's an episode, man, episode 5, and I know this because I rewatched it like 3 times. Like, it's crazy what they do to some of these characters, man. Like known characters get killed in this show. Characters that you might be a big fan of are not, didn't make it. So, the animation, man, I didn't even get into animation. The animation was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Like it almost like there were some parts that just felt very anime. That's how good it was, man. Like and it bugs me because I'm like, why can't everything be this good? They have the characters, they have the materials, they have the history. Why can't everything they do, Disney, why can't everything they do be that good? But guys, if you haven't watched X-Men 97, you are sleeping. Like you're sleeping. I look, and I get it. I get it. Like I get not wanting to support Disney. I get that, right? Like I get that on a level you can't even understand. I hate supporting Disney right now. But again, I give the devil his due. This was good. And here's the thing. It wasn't because of Disney that this was good. It was because of the guy that they fired, which is funny to think about, right? Like the guy who did the one guy who kind of saved their ass, they just cut. Yeah, I think his name is Bo DeMaio. Bo DeMaio. And I owe that guy an apology, because like I thought he was going to put out some shit, right? And this guy has an understanding of the X-Men that I wish they would let him direct a movie. Let him direct the X-Men live action movie, because this guy understands the characters. He understands the comics. Like on a level none of those suits can understand. But they cut him. So I don't know if they're going to rehire him. I think they should. I think they should, because this is the one good thing Disney Plus has going. That's it. Like, there's really no other reason to have Disney Plus except for X-Men 97. And I say that with my whole chest. I look forward to the next season, and it has been approved for season 2. Season 2 has been a greenlit, and we're going to get it. I'm happy about it. I'm a little concerned because Bo DeMaio's, from what I can tell, or from what I know, isn't involved. So I'm a little nervous about that. Like, are we going to get the same quality that we got this year? But then again, animation takes so long, we won't know till like 2027 probably. But you know what? The first season is here. It's online. It's on Disney Plus. You guys should watch it, man. You guys should definitely watch it. It's weird to me that a company like Disney, that has 2 of the greatest franchises to ever exist, don't know how to operate, don't know how to maneuver, they don't understand what they have. And I don't get that. They could be making hand over fist. They could be pleasing the fans and newbies at the same time. And for some reason, they refuse to do it. Right? I'm already hearing dumb rumors about the X-Men live action movie, where I'm like, you guys have learned nothing, man. Like You have this gift given to you, and you're still planning on fucking up the live action movie? Like they have the Fantastic Four? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Fantastic Four will be good in spite of the bullshit with the Silver Surfer. But I get why people don't want to support Disney, and I get why they don't want to give them a chance. Because we've been screwed over too many times by this company. I outside of this show, I believe me, there was no reason for me to ever have Disney Plus. Right? I got Disney Plus for just this show, and I've already canceled my Disney Plus. I don't need it. I'm definitely not watching The Acolyte. I mean, really? I'm not watching The Acolyte. I look, I the what really blew me away this season, there we go. What really blew me away this season though was just like I just forgot how much I love Magneto. And what they did with him this season was like you can't call him a villain. Like you just can't. Like you just can't call Magneto a villain, man. Like if anything, I felt like Charles Xavier was kind of like the real villain of this season, man. I feel like Magneto showed like that he should be leading the X-Men. He should be, right? And just to see that on screen, right? Like, God, man, guys, I just can't talk enough about how good this show is. I can't. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And the voice actors, man, I think a lot of them are the originals from the 90s cartoon, and they just all kill it, man. I love the addition of Sunspot to the team. You know, I would have preferred a whole crop of the New Mutants, but it's fine. I'm glad of all the New Mutants, Sunspot made it onto the squad. So, but yeah, it's just a good show. Anyway, I'm gonna get into some comments. All right, here we go. From Treviticus. I think it's guaranteed one more season, though I'm pretty sure it flopped. Well, okay. So about that, I've been hearing that too. It has been greenlit for a second season, and I've been reading things that say that this season, as good as it is, it didn't do well in the ratings. Right? I think what's going to happen though is I think there's going to be so much good word of mouth about this show that they are. I think those ratings are going to come up. They're going to come up a lot. I think there's been a lot of good word of mouth. So I'm not going to say it's a flop yet, right? Like I'm gonna give it like maybe another month before I say that, because I think there has been a lot of good word of mouth about the show. But yes, technically, from what I've read, as the ratings stand now, they're not. The ratings aren't too hot. So, which is why you guys should watch it, because I definitely want season 2. All right, got another one here. Lord Jacob of House Babrick. I know it's from the comics, but I thought the new suit and his his flowing locks reminded me of somebody's aunt. Yeah, you know what's weird though, and he's talking about Magneto here. I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I from what I've gotten, it was something for the ladies. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It wasn't like, it was more like romantic Magneto versus. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't soft. Like Magneto was tearing shit up in this show. So yeah, don't get it twisted. But they did make him extra. They made him extra like romance novel cover. You know what I mean? So I get what he's saying, and that's why a lot of the ladies liked Magneto this season. Treviticus. Gotta admire that the cause is more important to Disney than profit. Nope, don't have to admire that at all. I hate what they produce, but I respect their dedication to their cause. I don't, man. I think it's a fool's errand, to be honest with you. They are dedicated to the message. I'll give them that. They're dedicated to the message. That's going to be their downfall, and I don't understand how they don't get that. I don't. You know, like once you lose men from something like the MCU and Star Wars, eh, good luck. Good luck. Because the people you think are going to support that stuff are a small minority and not enough to keep your shareholders happy, if you know what I mean. So we'll see. They can keep playing this game if they want. I think Disney right now, for now, they can keep playing this game for now because they're a huge company, right? They're a monopoly. There's a lot of studios that can't play this game anymore, and you're starting to see that. You're starting to see that by the choices they're starting to make. So don't get it twisted. Things are moving. Things are changing. They just haven't reached Disney yet. You know what I mean? All right, let's get another comment. Winter Soldier. Magneto looked like Jeff Hardy from WWF. Maybe a younger Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy, man. I don't know if you've seen those boys lately, but the Hardy boys have been they've aged pretty hard, man. All that wear and tear on their body, man. Like especially Jeff. Like I don't even know how that guy's walking upright anymore, to be honest with you. And yes, for you guys who don't know, I am a huge wrestling fan. Huge. I even debated whether this show was going to be a wrestling show or a show about entertainment, generally. And I'm still kind of debating because I would love to have like at least do a show with somebody about wrestling. So because I love it. But anyway, let's get to another comment. 98 Hardy Boys. Yeah, exactly. Definitely not now. Okay, another comment. This is from Varad. My theory is he did something that was bad enough that it would cause Disney to look bad. Yeah, and he's talking about Bo DeMaio, the guy who created the X-Men 97. I agree. I think he did something that, they had to fire him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that is, and I don't want to speculate, right? Like, I know there's speculation that it was something that involved OnlyFans or something. I don't know. It's a weird call, right? I think though to fire the one guy who made the one thing that you guys have done in a long time that people like, that's a choice. I mean, whatever he did had to be so bad that they canceled him. That they just fired him and said, screw it. Now, because of how well received, maybe not ratings, but it's being well received by critics. Maybe because it's being well received, they'll hire him back, right? But I don't know because I don't know what he got fired for. That's the thing. I don't know what he got fired for. I have a feeling it had to do with something sexual. Because isn't it always? It's always something sexual, right? So, but no, I wish him luck, man. Would love to see the guy come back. All right, I'm gonna do one more comment. Oh, already did that one. All right. So Lord Jacob of House Babrick said, I was extremely pleasantly surprised. I kept waiting for something to happen that would annoy me, but it never came. I actually look forward to it week by week. Yeah. Yeah. This was like the one, this and Fallout were, no, I think Fallout was all together. So I think X-Men 97 was the only show that I was watching that was week to week. And you know what's funny, guys? I watched every single episode, everyone at midnight the night before or the morning of, whatever, because it was that good. I didn't want to wait till the next day. Like Tuesday night, I knew it'd be on at midnight, and I watched every single episode that night because it was literally that good, man. Especially those last 5 episodes, it was mind blowing, right? And the weird thing is, I want to talk more about the story of what happened, but I'll be giving away a lot, right? And I don't want to do that. Like I said, I don't give away spoilers for things I like. But man, when you find out who the real villain is of the season, God, that guy did such a good job. Whoever the voice actor was for that character killed it. Killed it. And there's 2 villains actually. So I'm not going to get into who they are, like who's really behind everything. All I'm going to say is they're both well-known comic book villains, both of them. And the storyline was just off the chain with those 2 guys. So the only thing I felt like this season missed a little bit for me was and not that she's one of my favorite characters or anything like that, but it would have been cool to see Mystique. We don't get Mystique at all this season. Maybe because they have Morph and they felt like, we already have one shapeshifter. We don't need to and Morph was somebody I'm also kind of curious about because to my knowledge, Morph was like Mystique, where he was just a shapeshifter, right? But in this cartoon, he basically not only can shapeshift into other characters, he has their power, right? Which to me would be like, well, that means he's the most powerful character on the team, right? If you could like turn into the Juggernaut and have the Juggernaut's power, right? And then turn into like, Archangel or turn into whoever, Quicksilver. If you could do all these things and have their powers, like that makes you the most powerful person on the team. But instead, Morph was like comic relief and really good comic relief, by the way. Like I loved Morph in this show. Morph made a lot of the heavy moments a little lighter, but in the right way, right? He gave a little levity to some really bad situations in the show. I really liked Morph a lot. And I didn't think I'd like that character. I thought, because of what I heard about him before and all this other stuff, that they were going to focus on the message and all this other garbage. But no, they just focused on his character, and he was a good character, which tells me a lot of these companies, man, they just need to shut up. Just shut up. Like the less you say, the better. Because the less you say means the chances of you pissing off fans are a lot lower. And they'd be more willing to give you a shot. So anyway, guys, that's it for me today, man. This is going to be a quick show. Well, I guess it wasn't that quick, but but I had a lot to talk about, and I can already feel my throat drying up. So that's my sign. But anyway, guys, like I said, there's going to be 2 live shows this week. So this show today, and then I'm doing a live show Thursday, same time, 5:00. I'm going to have entertainment interviewer or media personality Sari Cohen, who's a really good friend of mine. Love her to death. She's fun, and you guys have probably seen her on Film Threat too a few times. So she's going to be joining me, and we're going to be talking about the film business, man. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the industry, right? Because she would know. So, all right, guys, that's it for me tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. These live shows are getting a little bit more easier to manage. Like this is my 3rd live show, so I almost count on something going wrong at some point. But so far it's been very cool, very chill, and I'm glad you guys were able to stick it, hang in there with me, and tune in. So, all right, guys, you guys have a good one.